Johnny Be Good may be one of Chuck Berry's most recognizable, perhaps it's his signature song. It's a song that, of course, was a hit for him in 1958 after he'd already had a couple of previous hits. Johnny Be Good, a song that, like many Chuck Berry songs, really sort of falls into a variation of 12-bar blues. It's a simple verse-chorus form, not unlike the Big Joe Turner Shake, Rattle, and Roll, which we've talked about in one of the other listening guides, which means he's basically using the same music all the way through. If you learn how the verse goes, playing on the guitar or the bass or the piano or the drums, it's essentially the lyrics that change. Different lyrics each time for the verse, and the same lyrics each time for the chorus, and a different melody that goes with that, maybe some guitar solos. In fact, in the case of the Chuck Berry tunes, really, once you've learned one of these Chuck Berry songs, you can actually play a lot of them, because they, aside from changing keys, they all do very similar kinds of things. So lots of bands in latter days would do Chuck Berry medleys, where they really just sort of get rolling on one of these patterns and just start inserting different verses and choruses and things to get a lot of the Chuck Berry songs into the arrangement. So in this case, we've got 12-measure verses and 12-measure choruses, and of course we have the famous guitar introduction. The way that Chuck Berry played the guitar, the way he would play two notes at the same time on the high strings, so-called double stops, very much imitated by guitarists who came after him. If you listen to that guitar style of Chuck Berry, and then you start to listen to people like Jimmy Page or George Harrison or Keith Richards, or some of those that came after Chuck Berry in the 1960s and into the 1970s, you get an awful lot of the same kinds of things. A big sort of guitar hero. Not only the guitar playing, but the way in which he would strut around with the guitar. Go onto YouTube and check out the way that Chuck Berry would do this duck walk that he would do, in the various ways that he would sort of position himself with the guitar, sort of an early kind of guitar hero kind of thing. Another interesting thing about Chuck Berry is his lyrics are, this Johnny Be Good is a story song. They're not all story songs, but a lot of them are. But his lyrics are maybe a little bit more carefully crafted, or crafted in a more sophisticated kind of way than a lot of the other teen music of the 1950s. There are some really that are really quite masterful. This is really not the best of those. There are others that are quite good. Memphis, for example, tells a great story with a kind of a surprise ending. And this is one thing that people like Dylan and John Lennon and others sort of looked at Chuck Berry and said, this is interesting. He's doing more with the lyrics than just telling a teen love story. So Chuck Berry, important from the lyrical point of view. And when he wrote the songs, he was determined that he would not get covered by other artists, sort of changing the lyrics because they weren't appropriate for white teenagers. So he just wrote them that way in the first place. After Maybelline, all of these songs really did not need to be changed, and he tried to guard himself against getting covered so that it would be his records that went to the top of the charts, and not some records by some other group that was doing his song. So Johnny Be Good, a pretty good example of what was happening with Chuck Berry in the second half of the 1950s.